You've seen it, right? That one plant on the windowsill, always kind of leaning, stretching itself toward the afternoon sun? Or maybe a whole field of sunflowers with all their faces turned the exact same way. It's something we see all the time. It's called phototropism, basically a plant's ability to grow toward light. But this super simple act hides a really cool mystery. How in the world do they know which way to turn?
I mean, from the little herbs in your kitchen to weeds popping up in a field, plants are absolute masters of finding light. And as you can see in this time-lapse, they are not just sitting there, oh no. They are actively hunting for the energy they need to live, and they're orienting themselves with this crazy precision. So that gets us to the big question. You know, it's one thing to sense that light is on, but it is a whole other challenge to know where it's coming from. How do they pull that off? This puzzle has stumped scientists for literally centuries, and figuring it out is like uncovering this brilliant, hidden secret of the natural world.
Yeah, this whole phototropism thing isn't a new question. Philosophers and scientists have been scratching their heads about it for a very, very long time.
The path to getting an answer has been a long one. For ages, the main idea, from guys like Aristotle, was that plants were just kind of there, passive, couldn't sense a thing. That all started to change in 1658 when Thomas Brown wrote about seedlings in a basement growing toward a window. Then, fast forward to 1880, and you've got Charles Darwin and his son Francis, who figured out it was the tip of the seedling doing the sensing. And by the 1920s, scientists even found the hormone, auxin, that makes the shady side grow faster, which is what causes the plant to bend.
But even with all that, there was a huge piece missing. Okay, so we knew plants had photoreceptors to see light, and we knew the hormone that did the actual bending. But to know the direction of the light, an organism has to be able to sense a gradient, a clear difference between the bright side and the dim side. How could a plant possibly get that information without an eye?
Well, the breakthrough came from a totally unexpected place: a lab, a super common roadside weed, and one single mutant plant that just could not figure out where it was going.
So over at the University of Lausanne, a research team was working with this plant called Arabidopsis thaliana. It's not a fancy-looking plant at all, but it grows super fast and has a simple genome, which makes it absolutely perfect for genetic research. Their whole project was to try and find mutants that acted weirdly around light.
And they found one. On the right, you've got a normal seedling doing its thing, bending right toward the light, just like it should. But on the left, that's their mutant. It just grew straight up, kind of twisting around as if it was, and I'm quoting the source article here, blind and feeling around in the dark.
So the scientists' first thought, naturally, was to check the plant's light-sensing molecules, its photoreceptors. But they were all totally normal. The plant could definitely tell that light was there, it just had no clue where it was coming from. The problem wasn't chemical, it had to be physical. It was something in the plant's actual structure.
And when they looked closer at that structure, they found the answer. And it wasn't in the cells themselves, but in the tiny little spaces between the cells.
Okay, so to get this, we need a super quick physics reminder: refraction. That's just the way light bends when it goes from one substance to another, like from air into water. It's the reason a straw in a glass of water looks like it's broken. That simple bending of light, well, that's the key to this whole thing.
And here is the big discovery. A normal plant stem is full of these tiny air channels between its cells. So, when light hits the watery cells and then hits these air-filled gaps, it refracts and scatters all over the place, creating that light gradient the plant needs. But the mutant plant? Its air channels were flooded with water. So, light went from water-filled cells into more water. There was no refraction, no scattering, and so no gradient for the plant to follow. It was totally lost.
This picture shows exactly what's going on. Look at the normal seedling on the right. Those air channels are scattering the light, creating a nice, clear gradient from bright to dim. That's its roadmap. But in the water-flooded mutant on the left, the light just zips straight through. The plant is lit up evenly, which gives it zero information about which way it should bend.
So, the plant's own body is its optical system. These air gaps between its cells are acting like millions of microscopic lenses, or even like tiny fiber optic strands, taking the light coming in and scattering it in just the right way to create a map of brightness and shadow inside itself. It is an unbelievably elegant and efficient solution.
This discovery is so much more than just solving an old puzzle. It gives us this really profound look into the sheer ingenuity of evolution.
And get this system might be ancient,
fossils of primitive land plants from 400 times millions of years ago. We're talking plants that didn't even have leaves or roots. They already had these large air spaces between their cells. This ability to see with their stems could have been one of the very first superpowers plants evolved to conquer the land.
There's a quote from the source article that just nails it. Plants have evolved a way of seeing with their whole bodies, one woven into the gaps between their cells. It's a way of perceiving the world that is completely alien to us.
It really forces you to rethink what a sense even is. We're so used to thinking about complicated organs, but plants have built this ability right into their architecture. For an organism that's stuck in one spot, it's a perfect system. They don't need clumsy eyes to follow the light. Their whole body does the job.
And that kind of leaves you with one last thought. This incredible mechanism was hiding in plain sight, in the structure of a common little weed. It really makes you wonder what other secret senses, what other brilliant solutions are hiding in the life all around us, just waiting for a curious mind to come along and notice.